Hi, welcome to Vector Bliss. Today let us look at the XY parameter. I am inside a block editor and I have a rectangle here. If I go to parameters, I have this XY here. Click on that. Specify the base point for the parameter here and the end point here. It is like you are showing 2 points for a rectangle. You will be showing the diagonally opposite points. So this is how you will be placing an XY parameter, and you can see it is nothing but two linear parameters combined together. So you have one X distance and Y distance, and it has got 4 grips. You can control the grip display here, 1, 2 or 4. Obviously 3 is not there. 0, 1, 2, 3, 0, 1, 2, 4. So now when it comes to action which can be assigned to this, you can add this move, scale, stretch and array. These are the parameters, these are the actions you can assign to this parameter. Let us look at move first. I will click on move. Then it is asking me to select a parameter. I will select this parameter. Now it requires a point where here, here, here or here, where you want to assign this move action. I will click this point here. Then it is asking me to select the objects. So I will select this rectangle, press enter key. Now you can see this action has been assigned here. Close block editor, save changes, go back to the drawing area, select the block. Now if you pull this, you can see within the block you are moving this element. So the control point remains here, this point. Another thing what you can see is, if I reset this block, I cannot move this point beyond that top point here. If I move it like that, it becomes flipped, a kind of flipped. So similar way, I can't go beyond 0 on the x-axis, and I can't go beyond the maximum limit for that y-axis, whatever is there. In this case it is 1 because it is a square of 1 by 1. That is because I have chosen this point for the move action. Now let us see if I assign a move action at this point and select this block. Close block editor, save changes. If I pick this point, I can move it to that quadrant, but the moment I go below this point, that means if I take my Y position, see the quadrant, what you have to understand is this point, this being the base point of the block, this point, it is on the positive quadrant. This point is positive, right? You know that already, I don't need to explain, I think. So if you assume this to be one quadrant, then this point is both positive. So this is x-axis and this is y-axis. The moment I try to move this point below this, it becomes minus. So that is what it is happening. So if I try to move it below this x-axis, it becomes minus and it can't do that. Same way, this point, this is lying on x-axis, and now what is happening, this is positive x. If I try to move it beyond this towards y direction, if I try to move it beyond this y limit, it can't do that. That's why it is not following my cursor. Same way, if I go to minus x like this, it can't do that. So that is what this is. And another thing, if you have noticed, see now this is moving double the speed of my cursor speed. That is happening because as this point moves, this point also moves, and I have assigned move action for both these points. So if I move this, obviously if I move this and click here, you can see this point also is moved, but there is a move action associated with this point. That's why it is moving this rectangle. So two move actions are moving this rectangle in the same direction for the same unit what I have pulled it. So suppose I have pulled it by 0.25 units. So 0.25, the move action which is associated to this point will be moving this rectangle. 0.25 units, another move action which is associated to this point also will be moving the rectangle. So put together it will move 0.5. So this you have to be careful about it. Reset the block. So that's how the move action work with XY parameter. And now let us look at the stretch action. For that let me just delete these two actions. And stretch action, I will select this, I will assign it at this point, and I will show the window like this so that I can just pull this corner and select this, enter, close block editor, save changes. Now you can see if I pull this, I can pull it wherever I want, but not beyond that Y limit and not beyond the X limit. So it should be within this range. So I can pull it like this, and you can see this point and this point, both these are moved. So if I had assigned a stretch action to this point to pull this corner, then it would have moved along with this. Reset the block. So that's how stretch action works. And now scale. When it comes to scale, let me just delete this. Scale action, I will select this, and select objects, I will select the rectangle, enter. Now you can see the scale action is there, but remember that it has got a property called dependent, the base type. It is set to dependent now. Now let us see what is happening. Close the block editor, save changes. Remember, the scale action is now, the base type for the scale action is dependent. So if I pull it like this, it is getting scaled. If I pull it however this way down here, you can see it is moving off that base point. That is happening because of the base point being dependent. Now let us make it independent. Block editor, select the scale and make this independent. Close block editor, save changes. Now this being independent, reset the block. This being independent, it will scale based on the base point of the block, that is this. Before, when it was dependent, it was happening based on the base point of the parameter, but the parameter point, the base point of the parameter is constantly changing because we are changing these points. It can't stay always here. That is the reason why it was scaling in a weird manner. Now you can see here what is happening. When you are putting it independent, it will be scaling based on the base point of the block. So the base point of the block is here. So whichever point I pull, however the point moves, it doesn't affect the scaling base point. So the base point is always at the base of the block, base point of the block. So that's how scaling works. And another thing what you have to remember is, whatever that properties you can assign to the linear parameter, that is this one, this value set and everything, it can be assigned for this XY parameter as well, but not for one distance. Both the distance you can assign this value set. So it is asking here horizontal type. It can be increment or list, as I have shown in my previous video. You can set the horizontal minimum value, horizontal maximum value, and vertical distance type, whether it has to be increment or a list. Then you can assign vertical minimum and vertical maximum. These value set properties are also available with this. So try it out. And for this scaling also, you can see now this is independent, and still you can change the base point where it want to set the base point while scaling. So that is what these values are, X and Y. So if I put this X-axis, now this X-axis I am putting it 0.5. Now you can see this point came here. Now close this, save changes. Now try to scale it. You can see it is happening, the scaling is happening based on the point which was somewhere here. Okay, so the base point of the scale is now changed. Always it is at the midpoint there, because the square is 1 by 1, so 0.5 means you will be moving it halfway through this side. Reset the block, go back to block editor. So that's how these actions work with XY parameters. Now let us look at the array action. This is much interesting. So if I assign an array action to this, select the parameter and select objects, press enter. Now it is asking me, just like you do normal array in AutoCAD, it is asking me to specify a unit cell. I will show the unit cell starting base point here and maybe till here, because I want, when it is arraying, I want a small gap between these elements. So I am putting it somewhere here. But it doesn't mean that you can never change it. You can select this array action and go to the properties. You can see this row offset here, column offset here. Row offset, let me be a little bit precise on this, so I will put 1.1, and the column offset also I will put it 1.1, because I know that this square is 1 by 1, so 0.1 will be getting me a gap on both sides while it is arraying. Now close this block editor, save changes and select this, and now if I pull this grip or this grip if I am pulling, you can see reset the block. Here it is getting arrayed now. Okay, that is towards yeah, in fact actually it is happening towards the quadrant towards your left side, but not towards this side, obviously. Yeah, but if I am pulling it towards this is forming in right top quadrant. I don't remember exactly what is that. It is whether it is first angle or second angle, whatever it is. Now just pull this towards bottom and you can see it is happening here, bottom or towards side. So this is how the array works. Now you can see this is having a 0.1 unit offset. That is because the unit cell what I have specified was 1.1. Now reset the block. So it is not that you can assign only one action to a parameter. So let us look at another way of doing this. You know, this array action, let it be there. I am going to retain that array action what I have assigned to this XY parameter. Now going to a linear parameter, I am going to put a linear parameter here now, from this midpoint to this midpoint, and placing the label here. I don't want what is a grip display. I don't want it, so I will put it 0. Then one more linear parameter, I will put it like this here. Okay, and select this grip display, I am setting it 0, both these. Now this one I will call it, say the name I will call it maybe brick length or something, and this being brick depth or width, whatever it is, brick width. Okay, and going back to actions, I will assign a stretch action here for this at this point, and I will show the window like this and select this parameter as well as this rectangle here. Now another stretch action, selecting this parameter and this point, and select this like this and show the window, close, save changes. Now if I pull it like this, the array is happening, and the block now has these properties, brick length and brick width. So this brick length suppose if I am making it 0.5, now this is what it is happening. The brick width, I can change it to say 0.6. So now you can see it is happening based on those values. So this way I can adjust it, and there are it's like you have to try working with many parameters and many actions put together, and the combination of this will be so many permutation and combination. If you see, things you can do with these parameters and actions are endless actually. So many things you can do with this. So keep trying. Now that you know all these parameters like point parameter, linear parameter, polar parameter, xy parameter, next video we will talk about rotation parameter. Okay, so wait until then, and thank you for watching.